So many of us have BFFs, best friends forever. The cool thing about a really good BFF, especially if they have been your BFF forever, is that they're like family. I met my best friend, Kevin, in the 6th grade. He was a new kid, and I was a longtime veteran with 5 years' experience navigating the mean halls of Paradise Valley Elementary School in Morgan Hill, California, not the one here. After a week, Kevin already had more friends than anybody else. And it wasn't because his parents owned a candy store or something. It turned out that he was very funny and very hard to ignore, and the source of constant entertainment for everybody, as he would clown around with anybody that happened by, including the teachers. He and I formed a bond over our shared love of pranks, especially against each other. He would do something like come into my house, and when I wasn't looking, put the thermostat on to about 100 degrees and then leave. I, in turn, enjoyed going to his house and setting his alarm clock to go off in the middle of the night at top volume. These things were fun, first because his vision of me sitting at home sweating while doing my homework and not knowing why, and my vision of him waking up terrified in the middle of the night with the Beastie Boys screaming in his ear. That was fun, but even more fun was the sense of friendly paranoia that we instilled in each other and tended to like organic farmers. Aside from that, though, our friendship lasted, it endured for years, because we also found out that we could trust each other and count on each other to be there for them, anytime, anywhere. When he was 18 and his parents gifted him the gift of tough love and kicked him out the door, I talked my parents into letting him stay at our place. A few years later, when I had a bad relationship and needed a fresh start, he gave me a place to live. I was in the audience when he graduated from college, and he stood in line in my wedding party when I got married. We spent most of our teens and our 20s in close proximity, hanging out with each other most of the time, until eventually I got married, moved away to Arizona, and had kids of my own and family. And he got his MBA and began a successful career. He wanted a family of his own, but his career and the dedication to it kind of put that on the back burner, so he took ours on as a surrogate family. And he'd fly out to Yuma several times a year to be Uncle Kevin to the kids, to hang with us, and to relax and unplug from his regular life. He said that he felt comfortable and at home with us, and he'd be more relaxed after a visit with us than anywhere else he could think of. In some way, our house had become his version of a spa weekend. So it was about 5 years ago when the hardest thing I ever had to do was tell him that the spa was closing, that I'd be getting a divorce. Worse than that, though, was the reason why I was getting a divorce. I had to tell Kevin, his best bro and closest confidant for his whole life, you can probably see where this is going. It was transgender and transitioning from male to female. I had no idea how I was going to tell him that. I spent most of my life not telling anybody that, and he was one of the first people I had to tell. So I worried about how I could actually do it. I knew the words, I couldn't figure out how to actually, once I was in front of him, say them, so I thought, well, I'm going to kind of force it. And so that's how, after 30 years of rosy friendship, he arrived in Yuma to find me waiting for him in the car wearing a lovely black sundress and lots of makeup. He thought he was getting pranked. What followed was the most awkward 10-minute car ride of anybody's life. I mumbled and beat around the bush and tried as hard to explain why I was sitting there like that. And then finally I said it. Kevin, I am transgender, and I've been keeping it from you my entire life, like anybody else, and it's been so hard to keep it in, but I can't anymore, and I'm going to transition, and I hope you will stay my friend and that you will try to understand. He stared at me for a long time. And then he asked me, does this mean you're getting surgery? And I told him I didn't know. And then he stared longer. And then he said, look, dude, you're my best friend. I never would have seen this coming. But I feel really bad that you had to hide this for so long and keep this from me. I have no idea what this is. This is something I don't know if I will ever understand, but I'm going to try. And I'm definitely going to stay your friend. Hearing those words was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. He was going to stand by me, and that was big. So, it took about 2 years for me to shift from version 1.0 to version 2.0. I had doctor's appointments and family arrangements to make, and in that time, Kevin came and visited like he always had. Eventually, though, the day came where I went to bed as Christopher and woke up the next day as Christiana, which I would stay for the rest of my life. It took a few months before I saw Kevin again in April that year. By the way, it was December when I did the switch. In April, we met again in the Palm Desert at an event called the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. It was something we'd been doing for a few years. He and his girlfriend would meet my then wife and I as a couple of couples to enjoy the great music and bake in the really hot sun and spend all our money. And we always had a great time. And this year I was really expecting it to be even better because I was happier. So why wouldn't it be better? But something very important had changed. The dynamic was off. It wasn't 2 couples now, it was 3 girls and 1 guy. And Kevin would not normally voluntarily be in that situation for 3 days straight. We still had fun, but when the weekend was over, you could tell something really important had changed. Time got away from us after that. He got more dedicated to his girlfriend and her 2 kids. And I got involved in the world outside, which I had kind of avoided for most of my life. And I found that there were so many great things to get involved in and be a part of. We didn't see each other again for another year until the next Coachella. And this time, it was very obvious that what had changed was really important and the dynamic was completely different. And Kevin and I struggled the entire weekend to even make polite conversation with each other. The lineup was really good that year, though. But even Lady Gaga couldn't help bring us together. So, a few weeks later, I decided I needed to talk to Kevin, and I emailed him. And I let him know, I think this is awkward, and I think, I can really want to try to work this out. And he answered in good faith, but seemed to have lost interest. Eventually, he tells me that he needs time and space to mourn his old friend. And that made my heart sink. It felt like he'd given up on me. I was mad at him for that. And my anger grew into depression. And that's why, without knowing it, I had fallen into the 5 stages of grief. I was in mourning too. Eventually, I accepted what was going on, and I realized that I understood what he meant. And I wrote him back. I said, maybe the best way forward is for us to let it go and move on. When he wrote back, I think you're right. That might be best. Thank you for everything. I knew it was real. We've been friends a really long time, and I knew the mourning period would be very long. So about a year later, I get a call from out of the blue, and guess who it is? It's Kevin. Our 30-year high school reunion was going to happen that year, and he wanted to know if I was going. I had avoided them every year until then, but I was starting to warm to the idea this year. I told him I didn't know, but that I would think about it. He said, you should come, I would love to see you there. I said, well, okay, I'll think about it, and thanked him for the call. And then I thought about it, and I realized I am gonna go. So, it turned out to be a great decision. I had so much fun that night, and the magic of Facebook did such a great job spreading the word about my transition that I didn't have to spend the whole evening coming out one by one to all the people that I knew. A few of them even just looked me up and came right over to talk to me, and it was great. When Kevin got there, he immediately came over and gave me a big hug. Something had been different. Something was different about him. And I think it was that we were in this room full of all these faces that we had been surrounded with when we first met each other. And that reminded, I think, us both of who we were when we first got together, when we were just two jokesters relentlessly pranking each other. I love those kids. Kevin and I spent the entire night talking, and at the end of the night, we parted ways as friends. We've been friends a really long time. And we changed a lot, and even without transition, it was really a wonder that we were able to remain so close for so long. I had expected that that could go on indefinitely, and if Kevin could just get over his discomfort with me and realize that my change was simply the presentation of the same person that had always been on the inside, then everything would be fine. I expected that's all anybody had to do. Just realize I'm the same person inside, different on the outside, that's it. But that's not true. That's like transition is only skin deep. I am a completely different person than I was before I transitioned. I look different, I sound different, but I also do different things that guys don't do. I always liked talking about feelings, but I didn't do it when I was a guy. I love it now. I'm more confident, I have different energy, I'm just very different. And losing my best friend made me see that I had expected people to just accept it and go with it, and I didn't realize how much I expected them to change as well. That whole thing made me really appreciate the people that stuck around and made the effort. So Kevin and I talked a few times after that. We've been reestablishing our friendship. I don't know if it's restoring the old friendship, or maybe we're working on something brand new. One thing I do know is that the next time I stop by his place for a visit, he should probably check the settings on his alarm clock when I leave. Thank you.
Christiana, thank you so much for your story. I think it takes so much courage to be that vulnerable, and I think there's something really universal about, yes, I think there's something really universal about, growing older and maybe there being some distance between you and your beloved childhood friends. So I think I speak for all of us when I say we are so happy you and Kevin are making it work, and wish you nothing but the best. So one more round of applause for Christiana. It is my pleasure to introduce